Hey, good afternoon, everybody. I am coming to you in a modified 2020 Vision Show, kind of just more or less to get on here and yield some questions and to just talk to everybody about the coronavirus pandemic that everybody's experiencing and they're going through all over the world. I always wanted to take some time today. I have not been on for a while because we've been trying to navigate this and kind of really get clarity for professional eye care and Mission of Sight for our volunteers, because it's really affected both areas of what we do. So I just wanted to pop on here, and I was just going to yield some questions for, even our staff as a way to communicate, but also as a way to answer questions for patients and just to know what we're up to here at Professional Eye Care amidst this COVID. It's on the verge of problem, in the way that people are affected and reacting to it. But nonetheless, I'm just gonna. I think I might just kick on the 2020 show anyway, because it's kind of fun. I'm gonna stick that up there. Let some people get on here. Say Jolene Dyer. Jolene has been kicking it here lately. So we are just going to yield some questions. I'm going to talk about this. I mean, one of the things that for sure is going on is that we are open. And wanted to get a word out to everybody to know that you can still get your eyes taken care of here at Professional Eye Care during this corona time, during these the shutdowns and everything else that's going on. We're staying open, and we have put all the preparedness in place. One of the good things about us is that we also function with eye surgery. So we have a lot of those antiseptics. We have the hand washings. We have a lot of that stuff. We are in need of supply, so we will put that out there if anybody wants to help us or tell us how we can get more hand sanitizer and those things. But hand washing is still the number one way to keep your hands free of the virus or of passing it on. So got a great question from Jolene. Are we still open? Yes, we're open. If your eye is painful or it's not seeing or you're having problems, we're still here. We are fully staffed and we are fully open, just as always. We had, I'm doing this video here from our studio in the Rose Hall office here in that old Half Moon Shopping Village. Today, Dr. Myers did surgery, had 5 cataract cases that she did. And, it's not a crowd over here. It's just patient by patient. Had some great surgeries. Another pterygium surgery was done today. So really everybody that we had scheduled came because it's, this is not the end of the world, is my announcement. And just to try to bring some hope to everybody to know that even though, yes, we need to protect ourselves from the spread of the virus, it's not like it's the end of the world here or anywhere, in particular here in Jamaica, because our temperature is warmer. There's a great study that I was reading from Dr. Feltz that showed from over in looking at all the areas, the global areas where the virus is that the warmer climate that you're in, the less that virus will be transmitted, because it can't survive in hot temperatures. So one of the best places for us in Jamaica to be is Jamaica. And stay out where it's hot, stay out where it's warm. And that alone is a good thing for us here. Going to get some questions about here. Jolene's giving me one. How are you and your team prepared to deal with Corona? That's a great question, Jolene. We sent out last week kits and supplies to all of our branches that were sanitizing agents, the hand washing instructions, protocols for how we are handling frames and fittings, because we deal with the face and we deal with the eyes. And so there is a touch to the face at times. And if you try on an eyeglass frame, it's going on your face. So we have a sanitizing regimen that we're using. We're using alcohol swabs to clean the frames before they're placed on any patient face. And we're also doing that with our instruments and all of the things that we use in the examination area as usual. So those are normal protocols for a healthcare facility, particularly for eye care, is to swab and clean machines in between patients. It's normal protocol for us to, as doctors and clinicians, to wash our hands between patients. And I mean, if we're going to be honest with ourselves, we don't always remember to do that. And this whole pandemic time of, better hygiene, don't transmit, really brought back an awareness to, I think, all of us that, we have the sinks in the rooms, we have the sanitizers in the room, so we need to use them. So that's what we are doing is putting them on the putting those into better practice. So if you come here for your testing, you don't have to worry about being transmitted to any thing, because we are sanitizing all of our items, and we're already functioning in a very clean environment. And with one other thing that we do is we schedule patients. So when folks adhere to the scheduled time that they're there, we don't get into the crowding arena. We don't get 35, 40 people in one space. Now, that does happen at times, but right now in these days, it's not happening, obviously, just because many people are kind of just staying at home. But we scheduled. So if you come at your scheduled appointed time, then there's not going to be 40 or 50 people. It's when everybody shows up at 8 o'clock in the morning to be first, even though your appointment's at noon. That's what causes crowding things. So our ask and advice to patients is that come on your scheduled time and we'll avoid any crowding. Jolene's got another good question. You'd almost think that she set this up, but she didn't. But she's definitely on there with us. Appreciate this, Jolene. That is it a good time to get kids' eyes tested since they're out of school, or should we wait? That is a wonderful question, because we say, one thing that we're looking at is, even amidst the crisis that we're in, there's always opportunities in the crisis. Because something's different than it was before. And what I've been saying is, what a real great opportunity is to bring the children in for testing. If you have a child, they should be tested by an eye doctor within the first year of life. So if you've never had your child tested and they're 6 years past due on their eye exam. Or maybe, it's just hard to get them out of school. It's hard to coordinate them. This is you don't have to have those kids quarantined necessarily, because they're healthy, they're young, they're not going to die from corona. They may not even get symptoms. So now is a great time to have the kids come in and get their eyes tested. We're talking about putting together a children's promotion or a school promotion. We already have one that exists that's very great. We have a package program for glasses, and eyeglass testing's free here at Professional Eye Care when they move with a purchase. So really, if you're a parent out there and you've got this is a great time to have your kids get their eyes tested, because they're sitting at home just probably staring at a device all day long on the internet. Better you get them out and let's get their vision evaluated. So thanks, Jolene, for that. Wow, the glimmer of hope. Can we share with the public? I would say that this is that there have been, here's the thing, and now I need to get a study and a document on this to make sure that I don't get called out on it. But I know, and I've been, that we've already had coronavirus before. Like, there have been common kind of cold symptom times that have run through that the coronavirus has been out. This is not the first time the coronavirus has been infected in humans. I'm going to go and get more information on that. I've got to redocument that, but I have some trusted sources that have given me that info, is that it's not like it's never been there before. So it's kind of like, oh my gosh, the flu. Like, this is the let's call it the red stripe flu, right? We've got the red stripe flu. Well, last year we had the Budweiser flu, and the year before that we had the Michelob flu. So I'm not trying to downplay it, but there is without question, a lot of upplay on the severity of what is going on, because the people that are at most risk for issue is the ones that are older and compromised in their health, that have breathing conditions, chronic pulmonary disease, maybe blood pressure, diabetes, people whose physical body is already compromised by having other types of chronic diseases. So if you don't have chronic diseases, if you're not well into the age, then you really don't have to worry. Now, if you're younger and you have asthma, yeah, sure, that's a concern. So reality is that we should be caring more about quarantining and helping those folks more than we should be quarantining the entire masses of the country. That's my opinion, and I think it's true. Now, I do understand that shutting things down and having some events that don't, getting out of the groups, things, that's certainly going to have to mitigate the spread of the virus. But when such a high percentage of the people that have gotten or contracted the coronavirus don't even have symptoms, we need to be educated. We need to understand that it's not like when you get the corona that you're going to die. It's the people who are already even near death. They're the ones that will be affected in a way that the virus will cause pneumonia. It'll cause fluid in the lungs. It'll cause other issues. It may cause something to shut down that was like on the verge of shutting down. And that's where the majority of deaths are coming from when it comes to this virus. So the hope I want to give you, though, is that this is going to pass. It really will. We will restore. We were saying that, if you're watching this, you've already survived your worst day ever in your life. So you're going to survive this one too. We just want to give you hope, and just be very clear that the hope that we trust in here is in the Lord, and we know that that God knows what's going on. We know He's in control, and if you know Him, you can find some rest and some relax in the fact that this thing's not out to kill you. Now, it might give you a runny nose, it might give you the chills, it might give you a fever, right? Or it may not do anything. You won't even know you have it. So have hope in that. Try not to be stirred and thought that the whole world's going to die over this virus if you catch it. Oh, Jolene, where can you call if you have an appointment, but you have to reschedule? Well, we have a national line, which is 876-393-EYES. I wonder if I have a banner for that. There we go. I'll run the banner across the bottom. That is the national phone number where you can reschedule. Otherwise, you would just call the branch office that you're at, because we do understand that there's a certain number of patients that would just assume not come in right now. Like, transportation's a little harder, or, I'm older. And we do see a lot of older patients. So maybe they just don't want to come out right now. And that's perfectly acceptable. But if you're one of them, then it would be great for you to call to reschedule your appointment. We make calls to remind you of your appointment too. So technically you should be getting a, and let's say you'd get a call from us. Anyway, that's the number down there on the bottom. I'm ticking it across there. Or you can call the branch office, or you can Facebook Messenger us at our Facebook page, or that way. I'm getting some other questions here. Let's see what Dennis Weiser has to say. He says, coronavirus is not new, but COVID-19 strain is what is called pandemic, with the meaning that no one has ever had it and no one has any immunity to it. Okay, well, I think that's pretty true. And I think that we probably didn't have immunity to another coronavirus either. So you're not going to, because it's new. I think that's the point that Dennis is trying to say, that this is a new strand. And that's why we haven't developed antibodies to stay away from it. But it is a virus nonetheless. So once it's in us, it's with us. The pandemic issue of our definition is really that it's actually spread across the globe. So it's become pandemic in nature in the sense that it's global. Caroline, what about persons with sickle cell? That's a really good question. I don't know that I'm the guy to answer that. I don't know that answer. So we're going to phone a friend, or we're going to ask like a Dr. Cox or a Dr. Myers. My impression would be that it's no more challenging to you than the flu would be, or like if you catch cold, right? Not necessarily, we're not talking about a bacterial infection because that's different. This is a viral infection. But yours is a good question, and I think I'm what I'm thinking of doing is having this show. I'm going to do this maybe every day for the next week or the next 14 days because it's just it's out there right now, and what we've said to our staff this morning, or we've talked to our folks about in our morning meetings, is that this thing kind of seems like it wants to change every day, like now restaurants are closed in the States, and something else has popped up. So it's kind of on the move, and so I'm going to keep popping on here. I think maybe I'll do like little half-hour segments. If anybody thinks that's a good plan, give me a thumbs up or let me know. But I'm thinking about doing some half-hour segments just to give updates on what's going on with us and how it pertains to us here in Jamaica, as well as how it pertains to professional eye care and like our volunteer teams. We're taking quite a hit. So Boise, this is a good question. Is there any special consideration for the elderly, knowing they're the most vulnerable group? Well, what I've said is, if the elderly patients are concerned about coming in, that's a good concern. I mean, I think if I were elderly, now here's the deal. If I were, first, Boise, we should define what elderly is. Like, what's the age of elderly? I feel like, I know they say 65 probably fits elderly, whoever made up that number. If I were 65 and healthy and I was running and walking a couple miles a day and I didn't have any other disease process, I wouldn't be worried. I just would not be worried about it. I would still practice good hand hygiene. I'd wash my hands where I go. I would keep my hands off my face. I would probably have a little bottle of hand sanitizer with me. I would, but I'm not going to, personally, for me, I wouldn't stop my life. And I don't think everybody else should either, particularly if you're 65 and healthy. Now, let's just use a different example though, Boise. Let's say you're 65 and you've got chronic pulmonary disease, right? Obstructive pulmonary, is what we call COPD. You have breathing problems and you're 65 and you got a little touch of sugar, right? Or you got hypertension along with that COPD. Well, I wouldn't go out. I mean, I'd hang out at home. I really would. I'd probably just say, you know what, I'm going to self-quarantine myself until this thing blows over. So that I would do, or I would just also practice really super incredible hygiene if I had to work and I was 65, or maybe I would take my personal time off. At 65, you should probably have developed at least an ability to take a little time off, So I think the elderly question, Boise, is awesome. And, the things that we're doing here is that we're making sure our door handles are sanitized, our hands are washed. When you come in, you get hand sanitizing. We're sanitizing our frames if you're trying on frames, or if you're just having an examination with the doctor for the health of your eye, or you've had cataract surgery and you need your post-op visit, we're sanitizing our machines. So we're doing our part. And I think that I might have just killed that with a little overdue, but yeah. Hey, this is a great one from give me some heads up before your next broadcast. I'll be happy to share the perspective of an elementary school principal during this crisis. Doug, I could bring you on right now, All I got to do is just send you an invite. I think some people would love to know. I'd love to hear that, actually, because the fact is, I'm going to send this over to you in mail. I don't know if you're going to get on this or if you got the ability or not, but I'm going to send you a line. Do I have your email? Oh my gosh, if I don't have your email, Doug Bell, that's an issue. and I don't think I have it. So that ain't gonna work. So you're right. Let's do some heads up. Hey, I'm gonna do them another day. I'm gonna do it another day, other days here during the week, so that you know what, I can do it this way. Sorry, everybody, for this pause, but I know a way to get around it. If you don't use WhatsApp already, WhatsApp is a great tool for international texting and calling and all that. So, Doug, I just pasted that link to you in WhatsApp. So if you can jump on, let's do it. So there you go. I've got it on there. Okay. You're not in a place to do it right now. All right. Well, I've got it on your WhatsApp. Doug, let's do that another time during the week, because I mean, it'd be great to bring a teacher's perspective into this, especially a principal. Yeah, we'll try tomorrow. Let's just keep going on this. What time tomorrow, Doug? What's a good time for you, brother? We could bring you on. But, you know, I think about all these kids, all the students that have, you know, we send them home. I get the whole deal with it, I think. Maybe I don't. But we sent, like in Jamaica here, we sent all those children home to most of them go be around their elderly grandparents. Well, let's just go expose them with a bunch of germs. So there are, and I know there's probably another side of it, right? That someone's going to say, "Oh, well, no, that it gets out of that whole social gathering, and then everything will spread less." And okay, I'll go with that too. But I still say you're bringing home a bunch of germs to a granny who doesn't need them and is probably now going to be more stressed out. So she's going to have even a little more weakened immune system. So if we're really trying to protect the elderly, why are we sending the children home to them? You know, that's my take. I might get thrown under the bus for that, but that's okay. So what am I saying to us now? I think I've pretty much covered a lot here tonight. Well, this afternoon, we're going to get the teachers on. I think that would be fun. That'd be great to have you on tomorrow, Doug. And not seeing a lot more comments flowing through. So let me just kind of close out with that. One of the purposes of this is just let everybody here in Jamaica too know that we're open. We're here. We're seeing patients. The offices had, you know, what we predict is that we'll probably have about 50% of the normal amount of patients that are coming in. So here's another thing. If you've been trying to get in to see our doctors or see us, this is a great opportunity to get in here and get a lot of attention, because we're not as busy as we would normally be. That's just the reality. So we're not stressed out. We're not going out of business or any of those things. But you know, you can take advantage of the opportunity to come in and get your care for, because everything's slower. Even the roads, the traffic, there's nobody out there. So, you know, if anything, just let's turn around, and I'd advise you to take advantage of the opportunities we have. We are opening up some of our cataract surgery space so that since Dr. Myers doesn't need to be necessarily in clinic as much for as many patients, because there's not as many coming in, we decided we're going to open up some surgery days. So we've got a couple of surgery days available too. So if you're anybody out there watching that you've been saying, "Man, well, I really want to get in there, but I know it's going to be till June or October or whatever," we've got some openings. So just call the branch if you want to get in. You know, just keep messaging us in this feed. And I really hope everybody's doing, getting through this. It's certainly a challenge for everyone. One of the things that, one of the mottos that we use around here, particularly with our missional side, is that blessed are the flexible, for they shall bend and not break. So stay flexible. You know, it's hard. I get it. And a lot of people are just so fearful of what's going to happen. And we're fearing the unknown. But here's the thing that we know is that if you can walk a little more by faith, right, you can step away a little more from fear. They just don't like those two don't exist together very well. You're either in faith or you're in fear. And so, you know, everybody's in faith to something. You believe in something, whether you believe in God, whether you believe in the Lord Jesus, whether you believe in Muhammad, you've got a faith in something, right? put your faith in the better things. Take your eyes off the fear and walk by faith, not by sight. If you watch all the news and all the hype, depending especially on the channel you're watching, you can get into all kinds of mess. But we do have to abide by the governments of the lands. We have to go with what they're telling us to do. And at this point, it's, get away from each other. Like, let's chill out for a couple weeks. So take the opportunity during those times to do things that you've needed to do for a while. But remember, it's going to come back. We're going to get back to living again. We're not going to be quarantined forever. So I hope this show was helpful tonight. It's the first of a few, and I'll kind of keep consistent. I'll try to keep an eye on the comments section on the professional eye care side and even my personal. So if there's anything you'd like me to share or talk about, again, I'm not the expert on Corona, but I know a few things, a thing or two that we've been studying as well. So I think that's it. I'm gonna exit with our little 2020 show side. I missed the 2020 show last week, everybody. So I feel kind of bad about that. But there was a lot going on. So just so everybody knows, I'm here in Jamaica, scheduled to be here all the way up to Easter at this point. We're gonna ride this thing out, and we're gonna stay strong for our staff and our company and professional eye care here, as well as Mission of Sight. Last thing a little bit there, if anybody's still watching, is like Mission of Sight. It's really affected in our volunteer game. We almost had the opportunity for Dr. Stahl to come back, but he really can't because of the travel restrictions and things that are going on there. We have a team scheduled in June that if we don't have complete clarity by April 15th, they're going to have to cancel. And those are hundreds of cataract surgeries that are not going to be done because of this thing. And we'll recover, but it affects stuff. We had a team from Indiana University that was supposed to come down here for their See Better, Learn Better program and to be in the schools, and they had to cancel. So yeah, there's a lot that has been affected on our Mission of Sight. Again, we trust in the Lord that He's really the one who's got it in control. I think I was talking with someone that I kind of wonder, who started this? Is this God's will, or is it the devil that did it? Well, I don't know. Is it the chicken or is it the egg? Who knows? But I do know this: God's will prevail, and it's important for us to stay connected to our faith, connected to hope, and to resent fear. I know it's there's a lot of unknown out there, but it's not worth losing your life and your stress and your whole thing over it. It's just not. If you're ill, if you're old, if you're ill and old, yes, get in a bedroom. It's like what we always practice. My wife's family, they talk about it. That's what they do. And then that's what our kids have always done is if you're sick, you go to your room and you don't come out until you're better. So if you're concerned you might get sick, go to your room, stay in there. Don't come out until you think it's clear. That's okay. Have people bring you food, drink lots of liquids, wash your hands often, and trust that you're going to be okay. So just want to leave you guys with that bit of encouragement tonight. And just about at 30 minutes, I think that's what we're going to do. We're just going to target some 30-minute shows here over the next couple of weeks. And you're going to kind of chronicle what's going on with us with I'm calling it COVID 2020, I don't know about 19. 19 was last year. I know that's what's flying around, but we're going to try to put some 2020 on that COVID-19. All right, everybody. Thanks for being on the show. We appreciate it. That was almost a good outro, but reality was I didn't really have the outro. That's not it. My good friend Ken is going to give me some heat on this one now for not having my A game on at the end of the show. Where's my 2020 outro? Interesting. So I guess that's the end. Here we go. I think I found it. Wow. I just want everybody to know I'm going to get some heat for that, but it's 29 minutes and 47 seconds. So I'm going to just say that I used that little piece just to make sure that we got the whole 30 minutes. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.